okay, so so how to double your conversions from your webinars? Well, there's a couple of ways to double your conversions, but before I get to that, I want to say, well, why do you want to double your conversions? Well, obviously it's because you want to make more money, or you want to get more bookings for your business. You want to, get more people to buy your product, maybe your course, maybe your whatever the thing that you're selling, right? And usually you would use a webinar for something that's not, I wouldn't say more than $1,000, maybe less than $1,000, but definitely more than like $100 to $200, right? And so the reason why you want to double your conversions is, well, one, because probably your conversions are low, and so if your conversions are low, then here are a couple of things that you could do to increase the conversion rate on your webinars and after your webinars, because there's a cycle, right? So first of all, the most obvious thing is just get more people to register for your webinar. Like, why, like, that's kind of the most obvious thing, is like get more people to register for your webinar. But that does come with like a challenge. Like, the challenge there is to get more people to your registration page to actually register. And in order to do that, you need to actually optimize your web page. You need to maybe advertise. Maybe you need to do more stories to actually drive people to your webinar registration page. Maybe you have stories on Instagram, stories on LinkedIn, stories on Twitter. Maybe you do posts on your social medias everywhere to try to generate more activity. Maybe if you have a group, like post in the group to get more people to register. Give them an incentive to register. So maybe offer them like a free gift or a free downloadable if they attend, and give that only people who actually get to the end of the webinar, right? So tease people with this bonus thing when they register, or to get them to register, and then give it to them at the end of the webinar. So like just before you give them the offer, or maybe you put it in as part of the bonus of the offer, or you just award people for staying to the end, where you send them like a private link or a secret link, or maybe you give them the link directly to the downloadable or the thing that you're promoting, right? Optimize your landing page, I mentioned. Maybe you do an event, right? One thing that you could do is an event on LinkedIn. And events on LinkedIn actually create an interesting situation, because events on LinkedIn actually get a lot of reach and they get a lot of activity. A lot of, if you promote the events, they are getting a lot more organic engagement and reach on LinkedIn. The other thing you could do is Clubhouse events. So in Clubhouse, if you host a room, you could mention your Clubhouse, your event, your webinar in that Clubhouse event. Now, once you've got registrations to your webinar, you want to get people to register beforehand, like a couple of days beforehand, and then you want to use engagement tactics or communication tactics to actually get people to attend the webinar, because that's the second way that you can get more conversions and double your conversions, is to get more people to actually attend. How do you do that? Well, one, you could send them an SMS reminding them that they registered, right? You could call them, or you could have a call agent or a service. I have a friend who actually has a call center who calls people before, like when they register, to confirm that they registered, and to get them to commit that they're going to attend the webinar, right? So that's another thing. Use emails. Obviously, you're going to use some software to communicate or to register people or to go live on your webinar, whether it's Zoom webinar or EverWebinar, Webinar Jam, or any of the webinar softwares that are available. GoToWebinar is another one. You're going to send out emails from those softwares to let people know that the webinar is coming up. You could also use an active campaign sequence, drop them in there, and start sort of communicating with them beforehand. Send them an email daily, maybe 2 times a day, maybe 3 times a day, depending on what the frequency of your choice is. Send them emails regularly as well. Have an add to calendar button on the registration page. Add those buttons, the add to calendar button, on your emails as well, and in your SMS as well, so that when people actually click that link, it's going to add that event into their calendar. So it's going to block off the time. They're going to be reminded that the event is coming up in their calendar. So you're using multiple touch points to actually get people to register for the event, or sorry, to attend the event. Make it easy for people to attend, right? Don't get them to register a second time. I see a lot of people trying to use Zoom, and what they're doing is they're getting people to register on a landing page, and then when they're actually attending the webinar, they're asking people to register again. So they've got this Zoom page that they have to put in their name and email address again. That's going to turn people off, right? If you've got a couple hundred people registered for the webinar, then you're going to have a little bit of a drop off there because people are not going to want to register a second time. Okay, and then you could use Facebook Messenger. So with Facebook Messenger, you could put a little widget on your thank you page of your webinar or inside of your SMSs or in your emails, and you can tell people, hey, register for my Facebook Messenger bot, which you could use ManyChat, which is one of the tools, and I'll put the links to all these tools down below the video after this video. But you could use ManyChat, and you could create a bot that sends them a message every single day to remind them that the webinar is coming up with their link, right? There's a way to integrate from your software and ManyChat to get people to actually attend the event. If you've got a webinar that's happening regularly, you could ask people to join your Facebook group if you have one, and then remind people in the Facebook group to come over to the webinar. Now, you can't personalize that because there may be some people in your Facebook group who have not registered for your webinar, but now you've got people who have registered for the webinar who are coming into your group as well, and so you're getting, you have now a second or third way to actually engage with people over and above your email list and your normal communication, right? So you've got now your Facebook group also where you can nurture and engage with them. All right, so we spoke about two things. One, get number of people to register or more people to register for your webinar. Secondly, you can get more people to attend your webinar. Okay, so with those things, now you can automatically start doubling your conversions, because if you get a few more people to register and you get a few more people to attend, then you're already on your way. Now, once your webinar is live and you have those people attended or attending, right, you can use a couple of ways to get people to keep watching your video, keep watching the webinar. So this is the whole thing, is like, try to get as many people as you can to get to the end of your webinar so that you can actually pitch them the offer, because how many people are seeing the offer determines how well you do and how many conversions you get. Okay, obviously you need to tweak your presentation, you need to have your presentation on point, you need to have a solid sort of structure, you need to have all of these things in place so that you can get your sell the thing that you're selling. I'm not talking about tweaking the content. Obviously tweaking the content is going to help you, but outside of the content you could use polls, right? So ask people questions to get them to vote on certain things. And what that means is, now in order for you, so what that does is it creates engagement. It creates this thing where people are attentive, more attentive, because now you're getting them to vote on something, to take an action, to either use their hand or their finger or their mouse or whatever to actually click on something, right? So they're taking a physical action on your webinar. Ask them questions where they need to type answers to you back in the chat. Get people to respond to things in the chat as well. You could use moderators. So maybe you have a moderator in your chat while you're live to actually engage with your chat and engage with the audience. So maybe there's certain people that are asking questions, and so the moderator can answer those questions, and so at least they feel heard, they feel appreciated during your live stream or during your webinar. Those moderators can also sort of limit negative comments. They can also reduce the number of spam if you have people that have registered and that are spamming in your chat. It's not regular because you've got a registration, but if that does happen, you can always use a moderator to manage that. Then have your presentation done in a way that your slides are changing regularly, right? That you're using images on your slides, that maybe you've got a few animations or GIFs on your presentation that is going to create engagement, that's going to create attention, keep people's attention. Tell stories during your webinar. So instead of just teaching, tell stories. So one of the ways that I could tell you a story is, well, I came across these points and I've worked on these points not only from research, but also from helping my clients with webinars. I've run hundreds of webinars by now and attended multiple webinars, or also through my clients' links. and noticed just a couple of these things that have worked and that we keep testing and trying and changing for to get more engagement, to get more conversions on my clients' webinars. Show yourself on camera. You have no idea how many people I speak to that are so afraid to be on video that they want to go live on a webinar, but they don't want to show their face. Now, one of the main things that you want to do when you're building trust or trying to build trust with your audience on a webinar especially is to try to show them your face, because that's how you build trust, right? You build trust by being authentic, by showing up, by looking good, by having your hair done, or having a good background, or all of these visual cues that people are going to use to try to figure out whether they should give you money or whether you can help them or not, right? This is one of the most important aspects in my opinion. And then try to work on audio quality and video quality. So video quality is not that critical because, well, you may not have the equipment. So to get started on a webinar, to get your webinars going, you don't necessarily have to do that. But, I would say it's a good idea to do that. What you could also do is focus on audio. So for me, I have a fancy microphone that's going into an audio interface that's going into my computer. And this microphone actually gives me good quality on live streams, on live webinars, but also on videos that I'm recording. Now, when you get to the offer in your presentation, hopefully you've got more people to actually get to the offer. You could do a couple of things. One is use an offer stack to actually create value around your offer. And I'm not going to go into the whole thing around an offer stack and what the offer stack should do and how it should be structured and all of those things. But what you're essentially going to do is list all the things that you are going to be giving people in a sequential way, in a very specific way, showing them values, showing them prices, showing them what's included to build up the value and to justify the price, to justify why you're asking for the amount of money that you're asking for. Okay, then you want to add bonuses, because bonuses, when people perceive that they're getting extra stuff, right? The word bonus means I'm getting something more than what I paid for. The bonuses actually create this extra value in their mind as well. So bonuses are a good thing to use. I mentioned already in the beginning of the video that you maybe want to use a free gift for people that are to get them to stay to the end of the webinar, which you're teasing right from the advertising side, right from the pre-framing of the webinar before you're even getting people to register for your webinar. So that's something that you could do. I mentioned imagery on your offer stack or on the offers itself. So instead of just writing the name of your program, have an image. Have maybe a box, a 3-dimensional box that you could get done on Fiverr or Upwork or one of these services where you could have a graphic designer. If you're a graphic designer, you could design something that looks pretty, that actually looks like a physical product. I think that would work really well. Maybe even a if it's a ebook or it's a book, something, you could have that at the end on your offer stack to actually show the value, like it looks like a physical thing. All right, so that's kind of how you can get more conversions on the webinar live. What can you do? So one other thing I wanted to show you, or one other thing I wanted to talk about, is to use urgency while you're live in your presentation and also in your offer. So you could limit, let's say you say for fast action bonus, you say for everybody who's live right now, if they buy the product that you're offering or they register to book a call with you right now, you're going to give them an extra free thing, or you're going to give them a discount on the webinar for being live with you. And that's only available to the people who were live. That creates like a fear of missing out. You could use that strategy inside of the emails as well when you're reminding people to say, hey, you're going to give something away live. You're going to give them something special while you're live. Stay to the end of the video. And that'll be over and above the bonus, right? Or it could be the same thing. Really up to you. Okay, now, the other thing that you want to do, and this is probably the most important piece, is after your webinar, right? So you've gone live, you made your live sales, you can see people that have how many people have registered, how many people saw the offer, how many people ended with you. After the webinar, obviously, if you're offering a replay, you want to send them the replay as soon as you can. 2, 3, 4 hours, 5 hours, depending on what software you're using. Definitely send them the replay immediately for people who've attended live and also for people who have not attended with you live. The reason for this is because, well, people who were live or people who came might not have seen you all the way to the end, right? So send them the replays, get everybody the replay. That's just the rule number one. Then follow up with a few other emails as well and contextualize those emails depending on the activity, depending on the thing that they did. So let's say they registered, but they didn't show up. So send them a sequence of emails that says, hey, I'm sorry you couldn't make it, giving context to their action, the action they didn't take, which means they didn't show up, and actually get them to watch the replay. So recognize the fact that they didn't show up, not calling them out on the fact that they didn't show up, but letting them know that it's okay that they didn't show up, but here's the replays for them to watch. So send them a couple emails to try to increase the number of times that you can get them to click the link to go to watch the replay. You could send the SMSs, you could get your call center people or your call agents to call people and say, hey, we noticed that you didn't come to the webinar. Do you want us to send you a link to watch the replay? Or get them to register for the next webinar if you've got another webinar coming up. Okay, for people who've left early, meaning they did not see your offer, right? Depending on the software you use, you can see the people who were there, who attended live, but who didn't see the offer. Send them a slightly different email to say, hey, thanks for coming to the webinar, but we noticed that you didn't actually see the thing that I was offering. Put some context in that email, talking about the webinar, get them the replay, obviously, but then you can talk about sort of the offer and what the offer was all about, and try to get some context around, talk to some of that context around why they may not have seen the offer. Maybe they got distracted, maybe they were driving, maybe they had some sort of an emergency, maybe they fell off to sleep, whatever the case may be. You know, mention the fact that life got in the way, and you're sorry that they didn't see the offer. Okay, then there's people who saw the offer but didn't actually go and do the thing you asked them to do, book a call or buy the thing. Those are what would typically be called retargeting emails. And so you would say, hey, here's the replay. We know that you saw the offer. Here's some more context, or show them testimonials, or send them to a different video that's going to talk to them about why they should get the thing that they must get, right? The thing that you're trying to sell. And then for people who've gone all the way to the end, deliver that bonus. If you offer them the bonus or the free thing that you were going to give them, make sure that you email them regularly. Maybe on the same day of the webinar, you send them the first replay email. You contextualize all of those things that I mentioned above. The next morning, you send them one other email. And let's say you're creating urgency around your offer, and maybe you said in your webinar that you're only going to give them 3 days or 4 days or 5 days to take you up on the offer. And so for the 5 days, you would remind them of the offer, and you'd let them know that the offer is going to disappear at the end of the 5 days. And so you're creating urgency around the context of that 5-day period, and you're saying, hey, you're getting closer to the end, like this offer is going to disappear, depending on whether they saw it or they didn't see it, or they watched the replay or they didn't watch the replay, whatever their action was. Email them and tell them, hey, like this offer is going away. Creating fear of missing out. It's a marketing tactic, but you know what? If people are not going to take action on the thing that you are offering, the thing that they're going to change their life with, then you know what? It's no big deal. But there are ways to still sweeten the deal, and you could say, hey, register for the next webinar if you didn't see the offer, if you're not interested in this particular one. The other thing you could do is, once all of those emails, let's say the 5-day sequence is up, what you could do is drop them into a nurture sequence where you're going to send them your email newsletters, or you could send them regular emails after that to create a conversation. There's a reason why they didn't buy. Maybe they weren't ready. Maybe they didn't have enough money. Maybe they were waiting on some other thing. Maybe they were waiting to get paid. Maybe they're waiting for their husband to talk to. Whatever the context is in their life, give them an opportunity to think about it. Give them an opportunity to get to know you a little better, right? Like I said, invite them maybe to a Facebook group, invite them to a live stream, maybe invite them to follow your Facebook page, invite them to follow you on your Instagram, to go watch your TikTok videos, whatever the post action things are that you're interested in and that you're focusing on. You've got those people now in your email list because they registered for your webinar. They attended your webinar, maybe. They didn't see your offer, but whatever the case may be, use that list, right? Whether you're using ActiveCampaign or ConvertKit or whatever tool you're using to communicate with them, use some sort of a communication method to say to them, hey, like, you still want to be in touch. Maybe send them an email and say, hey, you didn't attend. Let me know why. Like, is everything okay? Like, test different subject lines. Like, all of these things can help you double your conversion rate. And obviously, I mean, you have to have a good product. You have to have a good webinar. But this is the thing you want to do, is you want to get people engaged. You want to get people to register. You want to get more people to stay engaged with you on your webinar, and create excitement, right? Use urgency. Create value around your offer. Get more people to watch the replays. Get more people to see the offer, and essentially that's how you're going to double your conversions. The other thing I would recommend is, depending on what software you're using, is to have a look at your analytics on the software. So for example, on Webinar Jam, you can log in and you can see the retention graph the same way that a YouTube video would give you or Facebook would give you. And you'll be able to see sort of where people dropped off. Go look at the slides that you were on and try to fix those slides. Try to fix your presentation. Add in a poll or remove the poll if it was offensive, or whatever the case may be. Optimize the webinar so that the next time you do it, it gets better and better. And over time, you're going to double, triple, quadruple the conversion rate that you get on your webinars. So with that being said, if you like this video, definitely hit the like. Let me know that lets me know that you like the video, and also it lets YouTube know that you like the video, and so more people can see this particular training. So with that being said, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you. Leave me a comment below and let me know if I left anything out. What do you think of these strategies? And hopefully we'll see you on the next video or the next live stream, wherever you're going to watch me, wherever you're going to see me. Take care. God bless. Bye for now.